You guys ever used to play Street Fighter? Was it Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat? They would just be like this. Okay, I don't want to give too many jabs here. We're in preseason. Still in preseason. Okay. I want to save some of that, save some of that. What's going on, Laker fans? Thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Doing a little post-game show action tonight, which I plan to do the entire season coming up here. And always looking forward to give my Laker opinion, get your guys' thoughts, the whole thing. Lakers over the Kings 109-101. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. First time on the channel, please subscribe to the channel. We'll greatly appreciate that. Continue to grow the channel, and I'll continue to do as much NBA and Lakers content as possible. Okay, so Lakers beat the Sacramento Kings. I was down there in Anaheim and worked my way back to all the way out here, all the way back to Pasadena. But I was down there, got a chance to, obviously watch the game, and a little disappointing, right? No Anthony Davis, no LeBron, no Cam Reddish, no Jared Vanderbilt, no Austin Reeves. So a lot of Lakers still not playing, but it's preseason. It is what it is. But there's still a lot of things that I'm sure you guys are enjoying or you're starting to see that's impressive to you, and I think for myself as well. I think it's becoming more and more apparent that this Lakers team, they just got a lot of players that are going to be able to contribute this upcoming year. So let me give you guys just a quick scope of what I'm going to do in tonight's show. Some team highlights, just the box score. I always kind of like looking at right after the game. So I'll point out some things that the Lakers were good at, they were bad at. I want to talk about D'Angelo Russell and his start so far to the preseason, what that means, how important that is. We got a real chance to see a lot of these role players. Gabe Vincent, we got a chance to see. I'll highlight what some of these players have been doing so far. I'm going to do something a little bit different today. I'm going to start doing it every single post-game show. I'm going to read questions and comments that you guys are leaving on my YouTube page. So I know you guys are leaving a lot after I do any one of these games. So I'm going to bring some of those into the post-game show. That's always good to get your guys' opinion on it. And I'm going to encourage you guys to leave me questions or have comments on there, and I'll do my best to get to them when I do the post-game show. Got an article about Anthony Davis that I want to read from a quote Darvin had yesterday about three-point shooting. And then the NBA GM survey came out, and the Lakers, I'll show you what GMs thought about this Lakers team, this upcoming team. So I got a lot of topics. So there's a lot to get into. I'm in no rush. I enjoy doing this, and I enjoy doing talking Lakers basketball. So I'm going to get into all these topics with you here. Okay, some of the team highlights. By the way, I finally edited this stupid thing, so I don't have that block at the bottom. So now this is just cleaner. Okay, let's go. Let's get it going here. Team highlights. So just looking at the team stats for the Lakers tonight. 109-101. So Lakers win by 8. Basically, the third quarter, the Lakers just basically took the game. They scored 40 points in the third. I think they shot over 70% in the third quarter. And listen, I mentioned there's still a bunch of the main players that are not playing for the Lakers, so that's something to keep in mind. But Lakers shot 50% from the field. If you shoot 50% from the field in the NBA, there's a good chance you're going to win a lot of those games. So Lakers shot 50%, 33% from the three-point line. How about this? Lakers took 33. Sacramento took 50. They took 50 three-pointers. That's incredible. That's insane. And luckily for the Lakers, they hit 30% of their threes. If they hit 40%, that's a different story. But they took 50 threes. Couple other things to point out, just kind of right off the top of my mind. Sacramento still had 30 assists. That's a lot of assists. They just couldn't hit any of their threes. Lakers had 25 assists. Turnovers, did not like that. Lakers had 20 total turnovers. You do not want to see that. 16 for the Sacramento Kings. So that's something to keep in mind. Biggest lead for the Lakers tonight, 18. Biggest lead for the Sacramento Kings was just 4. So the Lakers overall as a team, efficient from the field, a good enough percentage from the three-point line, and they didn't have to jack up 45 of them or 50 of them or something along those lines. Just did not like the turnovers would be my one takeaway from a team perspective. Okay. D'Lo is talking right now, so I'm not able to see exactly what he's saying, but I want to spend a little time on D'Angelo Russell. D'Lo is averaging, I want to say, 16 points a game so far in preseason, and he's shooting 62% from the field. So I think in the first game, he went 6 of 10 from the field. The second game, 6 of 8, 5 of 8, something along those lines. It was it was one of those two numbers that I just mentioned. And then tonight for D'Angelo Russell, 8 of 12 from the field. Let me spend a little time on D'Lo here for a quick second. I know it's preseason basketball, but anytime a player comes out and it looks like he feels comfortable, he looks like he's playing the right way, looks like he's being unselfish. I don't think D'Lo is trying to jack up as many shots as he can and saying, "Let me get mine." Preseason, regular season, playoffs, it doesn't matter. Anytime a player has those types of characteristics, that's a good thing. That's what you want from a guy like D'Angelo Russell. He was 8 for 12 today or tonight, but he also had 8 assists for the Lakers. So D'Lo ended up with 21 points. He's been really, really good in the preseason. Really good. In these first 3 games, he's the only one that's been there on a consistent basis from the starter's perspective. He's the only one that's played in all 3 games. And he played the first half, and then tonight he played 21 minutes. He's been very impressive. So I don't want to get too high and get too excited because it is preseason basketball, but I also want to point out and give credit where credit's due. D'Lo's been really, really good in preseason basketball. He's been incredibly efficient, and he's still dishing out those dimes. I know you guys probably heard me say this already in preseason, and it's not going to go away. I'm going to keep kind of pounding this in because I believe in it. I don't think there's a ton of pressure for D'Angelo Russell to go out there and drop 20 a game, but he's got the capability and the skill set to do it. At the same time, where I think it's more critical for D'Angelo Russell is be that facilitator. Be that guy that's feeding and setting up Austin Reeves, that's feeding and setting up D'Lo or Torian Prince or Christian Wood, or they got Gabe Vincent. They got so many players that can put the ball in the basket. And I think D'Angelo Russell is a natural point guard that wants to distribute the ball. So to see that the 21 points are there, great. 8 of 12 from the field, great. Hit another couple of threes, awesome. But the 8 assists to me is so critical. It's so important. And I think it's going to be important for the Lakers. Now he's going to have to hit his jumper, and he's going to have to be a threat on offense because the teams are going to, maybe challenge him like they did when they were in the playoffs against the Denver Nuggets, and they're going to force him to have to do things so that he's a threat on offense. But his game from that perspective of being a facilitator, I think is one of his strongest suits. I think he has such a natural way of getting other guys involved. He had a dime early in the game, just a beautiful, beautiful pass, and it seems so effortless. So that's something to keep in mind when it comes to D'Angelo Russell. There's a quote here from Mike Brown after the game, the coach of the Sacramento Kings. He said, D'Lo came off screen and rolls and shot like he was playing horse during stretches of the game. D'Lo can do that. I heard James Worthy postgame talking a little bit about how he wasn't comparing him to Steph Curry, but the effortless that D'Lo can play with is part of his game, and it's really, really impressive. So D'Lo so far, I want to give the man his credit. D'Angelo Russell has shot over 60% from the field so far, had 21 points tonight, was 8 for 12 from the field, and like I said, the 8 assists, my favorite stat of what he had tonight, and I was really impressed from that perspective. It's preseason basketball, but who cares? Give the man his credit, and that's what I'm referring to when it comes to that. By the way, if you got some thoughts or comments on D'Lo, if you got some observations on D'Angelo Russell, feel free to give them to me, and enjoy reading them. And if it's a good enough topic, I'll bring it into the next show when we got the next show coming up. Okay. Chance to see the role players. That's basically what tonight was. I remember being at I was at in Anaheim, and part of the questions pregame, somebody asked, I think it was Jovan Buha, the Athletic. Somebody asked something to the effect, or Jovan asked something to the effect, hey, when you don't have all these players are missing, what can you take away from a game like this? And it really, I think this is a perfect example. Let these role players, let's see what they got. Let's let them shine. Let's see what players can contribute and what players can also kind of start feeling comfortable, I think was part of the goal. Okay, here's a good example. Gabe Vincent had 18 points tonight. So the backcourt for the Lakers tonight, you had D'Lo dropped 21 and 8. And then you had Gabe Vincent go 7 of 12, hit 50% from the 3-point line, 4 of 8 from 3, and had 18 points. That's literally all you're hoping for from Gabe Vincent. Be a threat from the 3-point line, bring that tenacity that you're going to bring on the defensive side, come off the bench and be a threat that consistently can hit open jumpers with the way that the spacing is going to be there. The opportunities are going to be there for Gabe Vincent because there's so many weapons on the Lakers. It was really, really nice seeing Gabe Vincent. No real hesitation. Some tough shots too. You know, when you would take shots off the dribble and you got a good defender on you and you could still hit all nylon, that's impressive. That makes me think of myself. Okay, probably not. But no, I do think Gabe Vincent is a nice night for him so far in preseason. I want to say the number is he's shooting 42% from the 3-point line so far in preseason play. That's what you want to see from him. That's what he's going to need to do for the Lakers. Not 42%, but in that high 30 range is why they signed him to a 3-year deal. So it's nice to see Gabe Vincent do his work after D'Angelo Russell. And then there's some other players that, I just want to point out. I think there's some momentum for Taurean Prince to get some minutes. 13.7 rebounds for him and a couple of steals. Rui Hachimura, 5 of 10 from the field. He ended up with 13 points and 6 rebounds. And then Christian Wood is that other guy that I think is going to get chances and opportunities. The guy is just a bucket. I love, let me point something out here on Christian Wood real quick. Whether I've got a chance to personally interact with him because we had media day, so we got a chance to do one-on-one conversations, or I've just listened to him in all these interviews, and man, the guy seems like he's in a great frame of mind. He's with the right franchise. He has the trust and the confidence in the coaching staff to give him opportunities. His connection with I saw him and Anthony Davis cracking some jokes on the sideline. His connection with some of the other players. He looks like he's in a really good position. I want to tell you guys something about Christian Wood. He's been in the league for 8 years. He's played with 8 different teams. He's never made the playoffs. So the fact that Christian Wood is in this position where he's playing for the Lakers, they clearly believe in him and think that his skill set is needed on this team. He's going to get the opportunities. He told me in one of those conversations was, I just want to make the playoffs. Like, I want to have something to play for. He grew up a Laker fan. He's originally from Long Beach. I think Christian Wood is in such a great spot to succeed with the Lakers. And oh, by the way, he might only be here for 1 year and then go get a contract somewhere else. But that's okay. That could be a win-win situation. So Christian Wood, 13 points, very efficient. Taurean Prince, not just scoring, but also the 7 rebounds and the 2 steals, and then Rui with 13 points as well. So I enjoyed watching some of these guys play. Max Christie struggled from the field, but I'll take the 4 assists and the 5 rebounds. Take that all day long. Colin Castleton got some opportunities as well. He had 7 rebounds. I know I'm going a little bit deeper here, but those are some of the players, and that's some of what I think I took away from tonight's game. Okay. So I mentioned it's going to be something a little bit different. So questions, comments, I'll use them for the next show, and I'll make them always pertain to what we're talking about right now. So I got a couple that I took from the last show that I want to read here real quick. Stephen Lee 7029 says Fino, he's talking about Jalen Hood-Schifino, for some reason is going away from his strengths of the mid-range and the floater, bad turnovers, and settling for threes, which are not his strengths. Play to your strengths, Fino. The reason why I'm bringing this up, I had a few people hit me up after the last game, and Jalen Hood-Schifino again struggled from the field. He was 1 of 5 from the field. But let me give you guys a couple things on Jalen Hood-Schifino. And there was a reason why I was going to wait on him for a quick second. He's a rook, man. He's the guy I'm sure is still trying to figure out, oh my gosh, I'm playing for the Los Angeles Lakers. Who the hell is that? Is that LeBron right there? Is that Anthony Davis right there? Look at these other players that are here. Even though his shot's not falling, even though he's maybe taking ill-advised shots that you're not crazy about, tonight he had 5 assists and 6 rebounds. let me tell you guys something that I think for those who love basketball, watch basketball, that of course, enjoy watching Lakers basketball, but whatever level of basketball that you've played in your life or you watch or whatever the case is, can you find ways to contribute even if your jumper is not falling? Can you find ways to impact the game even if that shot's not falling? And those are stats I always look at. Max Christie went 2 for 9 today, but he had some dimes that I liked, 4 assists and the 5 rebounds. Jalen Hood Shafino, shots not falling, 1 for 5. He had 5 assists, he had 6 rebounds. Those are the types of things that I like to look at. Torian Prince had 7 rebounds and 2 steals. I like paying attention to those stats. How much was I highlighting D'Angelo Russell with his 8 assists? Those are important. Those are key. I know sometimes we just want to look at how many points a player had, but make sure you look at the full stat line. I'm not worried about Jalen Hood-Schifino for 2 reasons. Number one, I don't know how many opportunities he's going to get this year because this roster already has 12 guys that can contribute, and he's going to be fighting to get minutes over Max Christie and Gabe Vincent and some of these other players. So I don't know how much opportunity he's really going to get. Number two, I'm not worried because he's a rookie. Let this guy do his thing over time. I think he'll get more and more comfortable. He's going to figure out his game. So that was one of the comments that I wanted to read that came from the YouTube on the last show. Okay, one other comment that I want to take from YouTube. Let's see. Where is it here? This one is actually in regards to Torian Prince. So this will actually play into tonight's game as well. James Allen Jr. says, when Prince shoots an open three, I feel confident. That used to be unusual with the Lakers. They got players that can score. They got players that can they definitely got players that can put the ball in the bucket. And they got some real threats from three. Now, that's going to have to play out during the regular season. But I think everybody would agree with me on this. There aren't too many seasons that you're watching the Lakers over the years and saying, oh, my gosh, they're a real threat from the three-point line. So Torian Prince, another game for him where he had 2 threes tonight. He was 5 and 9 from the field. I agree with you. You have to respect his three. Not every game your guys are going to hit your threes, but I think what you're looking for and what you're asking for and what you're hoping for is that at least the other team respects your jump shot. They respect your three. So that's certainly something to keep in mind. Okay. Questions, comments, please make sure you put them on here. And then, like I said, I'm going to do everything I can to take ones that I think are relevant, take ones and read them off during the show. It actually also helps me with some of my topics. You guys think of things that I don't think of, and that's obviously helpful right there. Okay, speaking of threes and speaking of shooting, got the next topic that I want to get into. So I got an article here that came from, it was on ESPN. I was actually talking with Dave McMenamin at the game about it today. McMenamin put out the story on ESPN, and it came from yesterday. By the way, before I go any further, just a quick reminder, if you can please subscribe to the channel, it would mean a ton, and I would greatly appreciate it. So please subscribe to the channel. Okay. So I'm reading an article. Earlier, or this was yesterday. I was doing my radio show yesterday, and I'm reading an article, and the article was basically about what Darvin Ham wants from specifically what Darvin Ham wants from Anthony Davis this upcoming year. And he's talking about his 3-point shooting. So this one's a little crazy to me, and I'm trying to understand it, but I'm going to do my best. Let me read you a quote from practice yesterday of Darvin Ham. He says, I want him if he can. I know he won't do it, but maybe he'll shock me. But I've requested to see 6 3-point attempts a game, 3 per half at least. I wouldn't put that on him if I didn't think he was capable. Darvin Ham wants Anthony Davis to shoot 6 threes per game. I know that doesn't sound like a lot. You say, 3 per half. That's really not that big of a deal. But I'm going to share some stats with you guys. And I got to be honest with you. This concerns me a little bit about the Lakers, and it concerns me about what they're asking Anthony Davis to do. maybe you could read a little bit more into this. You can feel free to give your opinion on it, but I'm just going to give you my opinion on it. Anthony Davis last year averaged 1.3 attempts from three last season per game. 1.3. That's not a lot. It's less than a buck and a half there that he's taken a three per game. Okay, let's go a little further here. The most threes that Anthony Davis has shot in his career is 3.5 3-pointers per game, and that was in the 2019-2020 season. So AD is not accustomed to shooting 5 or 6 threes a game. I know AD had some issues last year. It sounds like he had some pain, elbow pain, something along those lines, which affected his jumper. Darvin Ham wants him to be more confident and to kind of have the green light of, hey, I want you to fire off threes. And if you get the ability to do it, I want you to go ahead and take it. So my initial reaction is this. I'm going to pretend I'm the other team. And if I'm a coach on the other team, and you're going to tell me that I either have to worry about Anthony Davis sitting in the paint all night and doing the damage that he can do there from 10 feet, 12 feet, 15 feet away from the basket, or screen and rolls and getting to the basket, or grabbing those offensive rebounds, or his own misses. And just as important, putting the other teams in foul trouble because Anthony Davis could get to the line, and there's a lot of times there's no way to combat Anthony Davis when he's got it going. If I'm the other side, if I'm the Sacramento Kings or the Golden State Warriors or the Phoenix Suns or the Denver Nuggets, and Anthony Davis is 20 feet away from the basket firing shots up, I'm living with that. I want AD on the perimeter. I don't have an answer for Anthony Davis when he's in the block. Half of my guys are going to get 2-3 fouls in the first half or maybe even in the first quarter because they don't have a solution for Anthony Davis. My team's going to get into foul trouble, and now all of a sudden Braun's getting to the line, Austin Reeves getting to the line, D'Lo's getting to the line because they had no answer for Anthony Davis, and the team's out of fouls early on. I'm not a fan of that strategy. I'm not. I don't really understand why that would be so encouraged. Now, if Darvin Ham's having conversations with AD in the back and saying, listen, go ahead, fire away if you got some threes. Maybe you're feeling it tonight. Go do your thing. And if you end up with 3, 4, or 5, it's all good. I'm not going to be mad at you. But it's almost like a challenge. He's putting it out to the media that he wants him to have 6 attempts a game. I'm going to say this again. If I'm Steve Kerr, if I'm Michael Malone, if I'm any of those coaches and I see Anthony Davis on the perimeter, I'm telling my defenders, listen, put a hand up, but if the man hits his threes and hits his jumpers, we will live with that because that sounds like a better strategy for the opposing team than I think it sounds like for the Lakers. You could read into it all you want. You can say, maybe this is part of a different strategy, whatever the case is, but I know that he shot 26% from three last year in the regular season. In the playoffs, he got it up to 33%. But I'd rather have AD feast in the paint and within that box, get to the free throw line and everything else. I mentioned it to Michael Thompson when I was doing the pregame show today, and you should have heard his frustration. He was like, what? Why would we do that? I don't understand the game plan. That's my personal opinion. And I that one just kind of threw me off. So I don't know if you guys feel, and I understand where we are in today's NBA, and I understand that it's all about three-point shooting. I get all that. I understand all that. But I'm not looking to see Anthony Davis take 6 threes a game. That's my personal opinion. You could feel free to give your thoughts on here as well. Okay, 2 more things that I want to do, and then we're going to get the hell out of here. All right? 2-1 in the preseason. Okay. NBA GM survey came out. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see that. So basically, the NBA GM survey is this. The NBA GMs around the league answer 50 questions ahead of the new season. They do it every single year. It makes great for sports talk radio or this stuff right here. Some people say, what the hell are you talking about? Other people say, oh, that makes all the sense in the world. So I'm not going to go through all these. I'm just a couple that I think are relevant. One of the questions, which team will win the 2024 NBA Finals? Keep it blunt. Keep it simple. 33% of the GMs think Boston Celtics are going to win it. 33% of the GMs think the Denver Nuggets are going to win it. 23% of the GMs think the Bucks are going to win it. 7% think the Phoenix Suns are going to win it. And 3% think the Clippers are going to win it. So there was not one GM in the NBA that thought the Los Angeles Lakers were going to win the NBA Finals. Keep that one in mind. And the other GMs around the NBA, Western Conference rankings, the Lakers were picked third. The overall consensus, the highest percentage in the Western Conference, it went Denver, Phoenix, the Lakers. I actually really agree with that one. If you guys have heard me say, where do I think the Lakers stand? I put the Lakers in that number 3 spot. As far as nobody picking the Lakers to win an NBA championship, I mean, I guess it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. Lakers got to the Western Conference Finals last year. I'm a fan of what they did in the offseason. Maybe they're a move away. Maybe they're not. Let's see the season starting, and let's see how things kind of shape up, and let's see where the Lakers are by November 1st, December 1st, January 1st. I'm sure there's going to be some give and take. Boston's stacked. Denver's stacked. Milwaukee's stacked. I'm not going to tell you that they're not, but not one GM picked the Los Angeles Lakers to win an NBA championship, and they got the Lakers third in the Western Conference, which I don't really have too much of an issue with. Okay, you guys got thoughts on that? Feel free to put your comments. One other thing that I'm going to read off the last YouTube that I had, somebody said, hey, Slee, what the hell's going on here? When are you going to do some roll call? So let's throw some roll call in there. If you guys want to put in the comments where you're tuning in from, if you don't know what I'm talking about with roll call, just means that you haven't been on this channel long enough. But roll call is very simple. I just ask listeners, tell me where you're tuning in from, whether it's in Los Angeles or it's in Cali or it's somewhere in the States or it's international, where we have a lot of people that tune in, which is one of the coolest things. I can't tell you how much I love it when somebody says, I'm tuning in from Egypt or Saudi Arabia or India or Spain or France or wherever the hell you're tuning in from. It means a lot, and I love it. So some roll call, your comments are where you're tuning in from. Final score tonight, Lakers over the Kings 109-101. Their next preseason game, it's coming up on Friday at Crypto.com Arena, Lakers versus the Warriors. They got 3 preseason games left, and the Lake Show got the the Warriors, the Bucks, and the Phoenix Suns. 3 of the better teams in the NBA. I'm excited to do all those post-game shows for that. And I'll be back on the radio tomorrow morning if you guys want to hear me on LA radio. So thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed. And thank you for hanging around for almost 30 minutes on the show. Hope you guys have a good rest of your night. Thanks, Laker fans.